Have you ever heard the story of the first Native American saint? Imagine walking through dense forests, hearing the sound of rivers and birds, and finding there a young woman who, though scarred by pain, became a symbol of courage, purity, and faith. Welcome to Paths to Holiness. Here we share the lives of saints, blesseds, and servants of God. Stories that remind us that holiness is possible for everyone, and that even in the darkest of times, God calls us to walk in His light. Mom, get ready, because today we will journey into the life of Kateri Tekakwitha, known as the Lily of the Mohawks. Her story is one of tragedy, survival, and miraculous grace. Kateri was born in 1656 in the Mohawk village of Ossernenon, in what is now upstate New York. Mohawk villages were built around longhouses, large wooden structures covered with bark where several families lived together. Inside, the central fire burned constantly, warming the space and filling the air with smoke. Her father was a respected Mohawk chief, and her mother, an Algonquin Christian, whispered the first prayers into her daughter's ears. But when Kateri was just 4 years old, tragedy came. A smallpox epidemic swept through the village. It claimed the lives of her parents and her little brother. Kateri survived, but her face was left scarred and her eyesight was permanently damaged. From that day on, she became shy and withdrawn. She would often hide her face with a blanket, avoiding the gaze of others. Yet, beneath this quiet exterior, a deep inner strength was beginning to grow. Kateri was raised by her uncle, a powerful Mohawk leader. She worked hard, helping with daily chores, gathering firewood, grinding corn, carrying water from the river. But she was different from the others. While the young people of her village played games or prepared for marriage, Kateri preferred silence. She wandered alone into the forest, where she felt closest to the Creator. The rustle of leaves and the sound of the wind were her companions. When Jesuit missionaries arrived in her village, she quietly listened to their teachings. They spoke of Jesus Christ, of His cross, His resurrection, and eternal life. And something inside her heart awoke. The faith of her mother, long buried, began to blossom. At the age of 19, Kateri made a bold and dangerous choice. She asked to be baptized. On Easter Sunday, 1676, she was baptized and given the name Kateri after Saint Catherine of Siena. Her baptism was like a new birth, but it came with a cost. From that day on, she chose to remain a virgin, offering her purity as a gift to God. This decision shocked her community. Many ridiculed her, some even threatened her, but her faith was unshakable. Kateri prayed for long hours, fasted regularly, and cared for the sick and the elderly. Her gentle spirit inspired some, but angered others who could not understand her devotion. When persecution became unbearable, she made a courageous decision. She fled her village. Imagine her journey, walking more than 200 miles, crossing forests, rivers, and swamps, facing hunger, exhaustion, and danger. Day after day, she pressed forward with only one desire: to live her faith freely. At last, she arrived at the mission of St. Francis Xavier in Kahnawake, near Montreal. There she found peace. For the first time, she could live as a Christian without fear. At the mission, Kateri's holiness blossomed like a flower. She rose before sunrise to pray. She knelt in the snow, offering sacrifices for the conversion of her people. She spent hours in silent adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. She dreamed of founding a community of women dedicated to prayer and service. Though this dream never came true in her lifetime, she lived as though it had a soul entirely given to God. Her health, however, continued to weaken. Years of fasting, penance, and the hardships of her early life took their toll on her frail body. On April 17, 1680, at the age of just 24, Kateri gathered her friends. With a serene smile, she whispered her final words: "Jesus, I love you." Those present witnessed something extraordinary. Moments after her death, the scars that had marked her face since childhood disappeared. Her skin became radiant and beautiful. For many, it was a sign from God, a revelation of the purity of her soul. After her death, devotion to Kateri spread rapidly. Stories of miracles and healings multiplied. People reported conversions, reconciliations, and answers to prayer through her intercession. Centuries later, on October 21, 2012, Pope Benedict XVI canonized her, declaring her a saint of the Catholic Church, the first Native American saint of the United States. Today, pilgrims from all over the world travel to the places where she lived and prayed. They come seeking courage, healing, and the peace that Kateri carried in her soul. Saint Kateri Tekakwitha remains a bridge between cultures and peoples, a sign of reconciliation, and a light shining in darkness. Her life teaches us that holiness can bloom in the most unexpected places. That purity is not weakness, but strength. That God can transform even our deepest wounds into beauty. May her story inspire you to walk with Christ with courage, humility, and love. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Paths to Holiness, like this video, and share it with others so that more people may discover the beauty of faith through the lives of the saints.